Hello, hello, hello. Thank you so much for coming in. Where did my music go? Using my granddaughter's tablet, and I don't know what I'm doing with it. It's an Amazon Fire tablet. I don't know how to use it at all. But thank you guys for coming in. I appreciate it. Miracle, I get backing low. I know they walk alone. And we got the Father, walk with God the Son, walk with God the Spirit, all of them joy, and I get backing low. I know they walk alone. Walk with God the Father, walk with God the Son. So it just doesn't stay playing on her tablet, but it does on my phone. So that's weird. I gotta learn how to use this tablet because it should stay playing with my premium. Hi, Anitra. Thank you for joining. How are you today? Hi, Jocelyn. Thank you for joining. How are you today? I am Precious, and I'm going to be giving some information on how I became a wife coach and what I do to help people. And if you would share this out and tap the screen and help me get some people in here, that would be awesome. Hi, Prissy. Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate you. I don't know whose name that is. Hi, who is that? Hey, Auntie. Hey, Miss Alicia. Thank you for joining. I don't know who that is that's saying, hey, Auntie. I don't know that name. Type your name in for me. Thank you guys so much for joining. Hi, India. Oh, hi, Teddy. How are you, baby? I did not know that that was your name, so now I have to remember it. Do I follow you? Let me see. See what you be doing on there. Okay, you don't be posting nothing, do you? Thank you guys for coming in. If you would tap the screen and share this out, that would be great. I'm just going to be introducing myself and answering any questions that you have. My name pretty much tells you who I am and what I do, right? Like, my name is Precious. I am a certified life coach. I started off coaching. Let me just unplug this because it keeps moving my phone back in 2015. So I'm going to be sharing like my journey through entrepreneurship, why I became a life coach, and why I have officially kind of got my mission to being a wife coach, although that's who I've always coached. Hi, V. Thank you much for joining. I just got a flash call, so I'm very new to going live. Very, very new to going live. So if you guys can help me with my live goal is for 3 heart me. So they just cost a penny each. If you guys can send me a heart me, that would be great. And if you haven't followed me yet, go ahead and follow me. First off, I am an engaging follower. If you're looking to grow on this app, I am an engaging follower. I do all the things. And secondly, I'm going to give you some good content. So if you go ahead and help me with that goal, that would be much appreciated. Share this live out and tap the screen and help me get some more people in here. That would be awesome. Right now, I'm listening to Victoria Orenze. I get backing. I love it. Hi, Sherry. That my little live goal was blocking, so I couldn't see. I don't know how to say Ezebube. Thank you so much for joining. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and get started. But as you guys come in, just please like let me know where you're coming from. Please tap the screen and give me some hearts. Please try to help me meet my goal of the 3 heart me's. That's a flash goal that TikTok just gave me. So I am very new to live streaming on TikTok. I have been live on Facebook and Instagram for quite some time. I kind of slowed down when I had a full-time job, but now I am back and I am in full effect. And I'm going to be here offering value. And also, like I said, if you follow me, I am an engaging bestie, but just looking for quality besties. Like honestly, just looking for people that are going to be quality because we know what that takes. So my name is Precious Carter, and I am a certified life coach. I have been an entrepreneur since 2015. I went full time entrepreneurship in March of I lied. Was it March of 2020? Yeah. No, I had set my goal originally to be a full-time entrepreneur in March of 2024, but I got scared because we know that's when COVID came and kind of the world shut down and we didn't know what people was going to be doing with people's jobs. And I did not want to put that kind of pressure on my husband. So I waited until August of 2020. What happened was my husband and I had gone on a joint journey. Thank you so much for joining, Sherilyn. My husband and I had gone on a a short vacation because at the time we were living in Columbus, Ohio, and we had gone on a short vacation. And on that ride, my husband was like, P, why haven't you what did he say? How did he put it? Make a market. I think he said like put your foot in the ground, make a cut and go. And I was like, all right, that's my permission because I did not want to do it and put any extra pressure on him. So in 2020, after my husband and I had that conversation, I set a date and I announced it on Facebook when I gave my notice to my job. And I got a lot of congratulations. I got a lot of applause. And I also got an inbox from a therapist that lived in Cincinnati. And she was like, hey, I've been watching you for a while and I want you to be my life coach. So at that time, thank you so much for the hearts. I really appreciate it. At that time, I did not know what I was going to do. Like I knew that I wanted to be a coach. I knew like I had several skills. I already had a couple of coaching clients and then I already had a couple of clients that I was working with. Hi Bank. I had a couple of clients that I was working with as far as doing some administrative work. So, hi nephew, I love you. Thank you so much for coming in. Will you share this out for me and just tap the screen for me, please? So I already had a couple of clients, so I knew like I could kind of make it, but I didn't know how I was gonna make it like full time and actually make an income on that. So I got that inbox from her and she said, I want you to be my coach. And I was like, what? So I got my first client right away. And then the next day she inboxed me and she said, not only, she said, I don't want you to be my coach. I want you to be the coach for my practice. Hi, Lewis. Thank you so much for coming in. And so I was excited, right? I went from having two old faithful clients that I had been working with for years, a couple of administrative clients to having like 50 plus clients, like in a matter of like days of me announcing that I was going to be an entrepreneur, and I was very excited about that. And so that transition happened like pretty effortlessly, pretty seamlessly. But what I found is that that was overwhelming. Can you imagine? Because she works for a like she has a practice, so her clients see her every week. So that means I have 50 people that I had to squeeze in to see every week, and that became extremely overwhelming. And so I talk a lot about vision because right there, I didn't like that. Like, who wants to go from working 40 hours a week sitting on the computer to working 50 hours a week sitting on the computer for about the same money? Not me. So I didn't like that. I kept a few patients who were willing to pay me out of pocket because she made it so I could get paid through insurance and Medicaid. I did not know how to do that credentialing, but I did not want to keep those 50 clients. So I transitioned her into like being more of one of my clients that I help administratively. I kept the clients who were willing to work with me and pay me out of pocket, and I started to look for other entrepreneurial opportunities. So at this time, my husband and I were still living. Thank you so much for joining, Kat. I couldn't pronounce your name and it went so fast. But at this point, my husband and I were still living in Columbus. And so we were looking for other entrepreneurial opportunities. And also, we were going through a little bit of turmoil within our home. But we did come across an opportunity for an Amazon delivery service. My dog is barking, so I'm sure somebody's at my door. We did come across an opportunity for an Amazon delivery service, and we took that opportunity. So when I did that application, it was pretty much a long process. The interview process was very extensive. Hi, Mr. McWayne. Thank you for joining. The interview process was extremely strenuous. And then also, once you even got accepted to the Amazon delivery service program, once you got accepted, like once you got past the strenuous interview process, then you had to wait for an opportunity. So week after week, and by the way, thank you guys so much for coming in. Those of you who are joining me late, my name is Precious. I am a wife coach. And so right now I'm just giving you an introduction to who I am, letting you know that I'll be coming on live every day at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And my topics will pretty much focus on tips for wives. I'm going to use this week to introduce myself since I am just now starting my live journey. As you come in, if you'll just continue to tap the screen and share this out so that I can get people in here, that would be great. I do have a pop up live goal that TikTok gave me, and I think it is for three heart me's. It keeps scrolling across the screen. Super new to TikTok going live. I don't really know, like all these things pop up on your screen, and so it can be very confusing. So I'm going to keep going with the story as much as possible. But if you can help me to push this out, if you don't have any availability to give a heart me, if you would please just tap the screen, that helps TikTok know that I am here, that you guys are getting some value out of this, and it will push it out to more people. So I really appreciate you. So so after the long extensive process of the interviewing, then it came down to like I had to wait for an opening in a place that I was willing to go. So automatically, like once I passed the Amazon delivery service interview process, I went into this like pool of people. They say 1 out of 100 people get selected for this opportunity. And it's a super lucrative opportunity. And if you guys want me to tell you about the opportunity, I will do that. You just have to leave it in the comments so I know that you're interested. And I will do a whole live to tell you about that because it is something that if you have interest in the logistics industry and especially if you have experience, thank you so much. I appreciate you, Queen Corinne. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much for the gifts. I appreciate it. And I think I just have like 2 more minutes for that flash goal if you guys will help me. So we started off with all these opportunities coming. Like they were asking us to move to places like Iowa, Oklahoma, like all these people. I'm not interested, grow host, but thank you. I don't want to do that. I would rather grow and find my community organically, but I appreciate that. Um, so we were getting sent to all these places that were like places we would never want to live, places that we didn't want to move our children to. But eventually there did come an opening like 15 minutes from my house in Columbus, Ohio. Thank you, Queen, for liking the live. I appreciate it. And if you guys can go ahead and share it out, that would be awesome. So we got the opportunity. So here we go from I left my job in June of 2020. I applied for this opportunity in November of 21 and we started in March. I applied for the what do you call it? The franchise in November of 2020 and I started in March of 2021. And it took off like that because we had like what you do with the Amazon delivery service is basically Amazon contracts you and you rent trucks from them and you hire people and basically you deliver all the packages. And so going from not having a job to immediately having 50 coaching clients and being just too overwhelmed to having an Amazon delivery service was extremely exciting, but it was extremely nerve wracking. And that industry was kind of crazy. So I went into a delivery service in Lockbourne, Ohio, which is close to Columbus. I lived in Pickerington at the time. And it was super great. Like I got to hire a ton of young people. I paid them a salary that was higher than everybody that was in our particular facility. But so I'm going to tell you like some pros and cons of that since we're on it. So number one, the prayer that I had prayed to God about entrepreneurship was that I could have a micro business, and micro business like a micro multi-million dollar business. So a micro business would be it was just me. I would not have any employees, and anything that I needed assistance with, I would then contract out to people. So even though this opportunity was lucrative, it was not a part of my vision. You're going to understand why I'm telling you that later. So immediately here I am, this young girl who has no experience. I still think I'm young, even though I'm 48. But anyway, I have no experience in the logistics industry, and I'm coming into this building with these three other companies that have 7 trucks each. And here I am coming in with 17 trucks, right? And so let me tell you this about the logistics industry. It is an extremely older, white, male dominated industry. And so, whatever. I went into the industry. I did well. I was the top performing DSP delivery service provider in that particular facility, but I kept clashing with what were called LORs. Those are, I can't remember what LOR stands for, but these are the people who are like supposed to be like a liaison between the delivery service partner and the Amazon company, but our LORs did not function that way. And I dealt with a lot of jealousy from the other DSPs simply because I was put in a situation that was kind of crazy. They were going to let go of a company and then they decided not to. So there really was even no place for me. So here I come with 21 trucks. I'm taking over people's parking spaces. Like, it was a lot of tension. I made a lot of money. And when I say I made a lot of money, I made, hi Priscilla, thank you so much for joining. The chat moves really quick when people coming in. So I don't want you to feel like I'm not acknowledging you. I'm very new to this TikTok journey and I appreciate you coming in even for just a second. I do ask that as you come, if you can just go ahead and tap the screen. I have about 3 minutes left to hit the flash goal that TikTok gave me of 3 heart me. So if you guys can help me with that, that would be super encouraging for me. So, long story short, when I say I made a lot of money, I mean I was touching $20,000 to $40,000 a week. My payroll was only $10,000 every 2 weeks, so I made a lot of money. But when I tell you, as soon as that year was up, um, I did not sign that contract again because it was absolutely horrendous for me. One day I'll share all the stories, but they have a lot to do with like racism and sexism. And I was paying these young people, and mind you, I hired a lot of young Black people who were not given an opportunity otherwise. And a lot of them ended up stealing from me. They stole gas cards, they stole people's merchandise. And so they really made my metrics look bad. And I had to work hard to improve the metrics on my performance. And so it just ended up not being worth it. And like I said, I never really thank you so much for the popular Queen Corinne. I really appreciate you. Um, so it really just ended up not being worth it for me. I was stressing. My husband and I started arguing and we started having like a hard time at home. I was having such a hard time there that I kind of left that for him and I went to Cincinnati, which is where I am now, and I opened up a restaurant, which was another disaster. But anyway, I'm just telling you my entrepreneurial journey and how I finally landed on what I should have been doing to begin with. So, I kept the clients that I had, and I got a couple of more clients along the way. And actually, after I left the delivery service, I was like, bump this. And then the restaurant was really ridiculous. I was like, I don't want to be an entrepreneur no more. So I was like, I'm going back to be a nurse because I am a nurse by trade. And I started picking up agency. And when I was picking up agency, I found a place that I liked, that was clean. Your life contains things that is made fun, uncomfortable, and has been restricted. Reason, commercial discouragement, and paid marketing. But I'm not. I don't know what they're talking about. My life does not contain any of that. I don't know what that says. It does. I'm not promoting any brand. I'm not promoting any. I don't know what TikTok is doing, but it says that it is restricting my life. But I'm not promoting any brand. Um, so that's why I'm joining an agency because I don't know. Okay, I think I must have said the A word too many times, but I'm not promoting them at all. So wow, it says I have two restrictions. What? Okay, I don't know what that means. So I'm gonna have to talk to somebody about that. But anyway, so back to coaching. So I went back. Okay, so I went to work at agency. That just kind of threw me off, y'all, because I'm like, how I get a restriction and I ain't even do nothing. I'm just now starting this life journey. God, don't restrict me already. But so I started working agency, and a company like me, I like them. It was clean. If you're a nurse, especially if you work in long-term care, you know that a lot of times these places, like whether it's long-term care or assisted living or anything like that, they're dirty, they're filthy, they don't provide you the materials that you need. Like, so I found a place that was really good and they asked me to be their director of nursing and I did that. So that brings me up to last year. I became the director of nursing at this facility. In April of last year. And I did well there. And I actually loved it and decided that I was just going to stay. I was not going to leave. I liked it enough. I was still able to build my staff. I was still able to coach people because, again, I had a lot of younger Black women that needed the guidance that I have. And so it just worked out for me. Well, my personality type, I cannot stand injustice. I cannot stand favoritism. I cannot stand misogyny. Like, anything like that. So I challenged um, the status quo a lot. I don't know how to say it otherwise, and I'm trying to be careful about my words, and I don't want to say the wrong thing. But I challenged the status quo a lot. And there was an incident that happened in January of 2025 where my executive director had allowed one of our nursing assistants to um, go into the med room, go into, which is locked, which is secure. I don't even know how he got the code. Go into the lockbox to get the key to the cart, go into the cart and not only administer something like a Tylenol, but he gave her permission to go in and administer a narcotic. That was a huge problem. And so I reported that. When I reported that, my regional director of operations was like, you need to, I told her that I didn't feel safe working with him because there had also been a time where there was a snowstorm here. I don't know what it just said. It said something else to me. I think in a time where there was a snowstorm here. I don't know what it just said. It said something else to me. I think it's something about a live experience. So tap the screen if anybody's on here. That if you're having a, can you hear me? Just tell me you can hear me, because I don't even know what that just said. But I also told, because during that time there was a snowstorm here in Cincinnati, and the roads were crazy. It was like a level 3 snow emergency, and he was the only one. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. So he was the only one who, thank you so much, Queen, for all your support. I really appreciate it. Thank you for helping me hit that goal. But he was the only one who had um it was he and I who should have been in the building that night. Well, he didn't come in, but instead of him, my friend, who was our maintenance director, he was the one who came in and he supported me that night. And this happened for 3 nights straight. So I already had a little attitude with my executive director. And then he's going to come and do something like he did with letting an unlicensed person give not only just like a medication that's over the counter, but to give her um, a narcotic, to give a narcotic. And so I reported that. And when I reported the narcotic, I went ahead and let them know. He also didn't show up for us for this building like for 3 days when we were in the middle of the snow emergency. And the regional director of operations was really honest with me. She told me, Precious, it is harder to find an executive director than it is to find a director of nursing. And you need to try to work it out with him. And so I did. I tried to work it out with him. But when things continue to when things continue to like go the same way, I continue to challenge him. I continue to talk to my regional director of operations, and then when he started to really then display some racism, I talked to employee relations, and then from that moment when I talked to employee relations, like there was a target on my back. It was very clear that they were going to fire me. Like one of us had to go, and she had already made it clear that it was harder to find an executive director than it was to find a director of nursing. So I will tell y'all that story if you want to hear it. Like I will I came into work on a Friday. It was after like the investigation was going on about someone had, started the investigation, and I called employee relations and gave them my part. So that Friday, I heard something that he said about me, and I called him and I said, "Hey, like you did not need to lie on me. Like I understand that you're upset with me, but lying on me was unnecessary." He denied it, and then that Saturday he called me and told me that the regional director of operations and the regional nurse were going to come in, which is not uncommon because it was close to our survey time. That Saturday and Sunday, I came into work because I was going on vacation the next week and I didn't want to use the vacation day. I should have used the vacation day because they ain't pay me out my vacation. That pissed me off. That really, really, really made me mad. But anyway, I came in because I'm a person of integrity. And so the way that we could not use vacation days if we didn't want to was to just work extra days. So that's what I did. Dee, thank you so much for coming in. I appreciate you. And so, and if you would tap the screen and share this out, that would be great. Help me get this live pushed out. And I need a little bit of extra help because I done said some stuff that got me restricted. I think my restriction is over. No, it said 10 minutes, so it'll be over in 3 more minutes. But that Monday is so fun. No, that Sunday when I was in work, God. So I'm a believer in Jesus Christ, and I'm believing a believer in miracle signs and wonder. So one of my residents came up to me on Sunday. I won't say her name, but she came up to me and she hugged me. She said, "What are you doing here on a Sunday?" And I said, "Well, it's because I'm going on vacation and I didn't want to use on my vacation days." And she was like, "I had a dream about you last night. I had a dream that you're going to fire you. Don't let them fire you. We need you so much here. You've made so much of an impact." And I was like, they trying to fire me. Like, and it's like, what can I do? Like, they're trying to fire me. I said, but I love you. You know, you have my number. You can call me whenever. And so that Monday, um, the crazy part, so that Monday was uneventful. That Tuesday, one of my nurse practitioners that I had hired as a behavioral health consultant, he came in and he and I had an okay relationship. What? Yeah, what? Yes. What do you need? What are you going to get? Okay. So he's a behavioral health consultant. And he just asked me, and our relationship was fine, but we never discussed anything beyond um, patient care. Never. And so he said, hey, would you consider taking another job? And I was like, as of now, yes, I would. And so he gave me the information. I filled out the application. The man called me and he scheduled the interview with me for the recruiter, right? And so that was on a Tuesday. On a Wednesday, the people came in. I don't know if I'm getting the days right. The 25th of March was the day I was fired. So I don't know if that was a Tuesday or a Wednesday. So that the 25th, they came in, the regional people, and they canceled morning meeting, which was like whatever. I didn't really care anyway. And I was just going about my day, but I knew something was going to happen. I thought they would write me up. I didn't think they was going to fire me. So I'm working, I'm getting everything set up, getting ready for state. I'm literally doing everything that I should do. I worked hard. Like literally when I came into that job, the occupancy was 40%. When I left, we were at 98%. I worked my off, okay? So anyway, we do all that, and then at about 3 o'clock, the RDO came into my office and she was like, I need to see you. Can you come in Donnie's office? And I was like, yeah, but I was on the phone working. And she kept staring at me, which was odd. So whatever. I get off the phone, I walk across the hall to Donnie, and she starts listing these things that are not true. She said that I didn't return a call to pharmacy, that there were some narcotics that were lost, and I didn't put somebody, have them do their background check. Well, I don't do background checks. Nothing was lost. I know I didn't return the call to pharmacy because whenever pharmacy calls me and I was out doing assessments, they would always call back and speak to my nurse, and my nurse had already taken care of everything that was going on. So these are bogus reasons but they just want me out the door. And I recorded everything because I knew it was coming. So I was fired. Now, I left. Oh, it says my restriction ended. Now, thankfully, I am done with talking about that. Um, but my life does not, it doesn't, I don't know what to do here. I'm just going to put this down. Okay, I'm going to do that. I don't know. I don't know. But anyway, so I walk out, I get as much stuff as I can, and I had a group me chat for all of my nurses and my nurse assistants, and I just said, hey, you guys, I just got let go. So then everybody's mad, everybody about to walk out. I'm like, no, don't walk out. Like, y'all need your jobs. Like, I'm going to be okay. Like, I have a husband who takes good care of me, and I'm going on vacation tomorrow. Like, for real, I was going on vacation the very next day. So I get to Vegas. I don't know why I'm telling this part of the story, but I am going to tell it because one of the things that I talk about heavily, and what I'll be sharing is about forgiveness. Literally, forgiveness is something that I have worked on very intentionally for a long time. To know just a little bit about why I was born in prison. I didn't have my mom with me. I didn't have my dad with me. I've been raped. I've been abused. I've been neglected. I've been homeless. So forgiveness is very important to me because I'm not letting none of y'all keep me out of the heaven. I'm not letting none of y'all mess up my relationship with God. God told me to forgive so he can forgive me. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. So I get to Vegas. I'm with my son and his wife and my husband, and we had I go to Vegas about twice a year. We had the most amazing time that I've ever had in Vegas in my entire life. But that second day, thank you guys so much for coming in. Thank you for the hearts. Thank you guys for sharing this out. I really appreciate it. If you're following me, thank you so much. And just so you know, I am an engaging person. So following me is not something that you will regret. So I that night, like we get there and obviously like it's early in the morning and we can't check in. So we out all day having a good time. And then by the time we get to lay down, I cannot sleep. I keep seeing this man's face in my face. I keep seeing all the lies. I keep seeing all the fakeness. I keep seeing all the lack of leadership. And I'm like, I'm the one who got fired. So I was pissed. But I realized that what the enemy was trying to do was plant a seed of bitterness in my heart, and I just refused to let that happen. So what I did was plant a seed of bitterness in my heart, and I just refused to let that happen. So what I did was I forgive him for A, I forgive him for B, I forgive him for C. Lord bless him. I prayed until I fell asleep. I prayed until I was not angry anymore. And every time, and it took about a good 2 weeks for me to, because people kept calling me with the injustices that were still happening and that were worse because they didn't have me kind of like as a mediator or an intercessor, and I would get mad all over again. Finally, I had to set some boundaries like, look, y'all, I can't help you no more with that. So you don't need to call me with that. And that's a big part about forgiveness, or that's a big part about following your vision, is you have to set boundaries for yourself and you have to set limits for other people, because there is no point in me allowing them to continue to like provoke frustration in me, and there's really nothing that I could do to help them. So for forgiveness and boundaries and limits, they kind of go hand in hand. So anyway, I don't work there anymore. My interview was scheduled for when I get back from vacation from the place that I told you about earlier, but nobody calls me. So I get to calling them. Like, I call the administrator, he's out that day. I call the recruiter, she's not calling me back. I don't have the nurse's number because I just didn't write it for whatever reason. So I don't know what to do. So I just keep calling and emailing. And finally he emailed me back and he said, I thought you blew off your interview and I hired the person that was the last person that I interviewed, before you. I was like, man, well, no, the recruiter never called me. So then the recruiter inboxed me and she was like, I'm so sorry. I don't even know how he was able to schedule you that time because I was on vacation. So it was just a big mix up. And I applied for job after job after job after job. And literally, I'm not getting a call back. And when I tell you I'm qualified, I am qualified. So what I know is that this was an appointment from God. So I just kind of announced again on social media, like, hey, I'm never going back to corporate America because I'm never going to be able to shut up. Like, I know that if I go back to corporate America, that this same thing is going to happen to me again because I don't know how to do it the other way. I don't know how to go with the flow. Hi, Ruby. Thank you so much for joining. I don't know how to go with the flow. I don't know how to not call what's wrong, wrong. I'm always going to give a care, but why can I not do it for myself? And the reason that that is important, because I had already had this opportunity. I had opportunities to make plenty of money. I had opportunities to, to help many people, but I did not stay focused on my vision. When I told you that my original goal was to just have a micro business, just me, no other employees, and I would contract out for the other needs, then that is what I should have stayed focused on, right? So instead of completely pivoting away from coaching, which is what I did, I should have focused in and done what I'm doing now, which is working on my group coaching project. And I actually charge more for my one-on-one so that, I'm able to sustain life while I'm building the dream that I want. So that's just kind of my introduction on how I became an entrepreneur, how I became a coach. Now, I did shift from just being a generalized life coach into becoming a wife coach. Why did I do that? Because as I was doing this exercise with one of my coaches and one of my mentors, he kept telling me, you really need to niche down because when you're talking and you're marketing, you need to be talking to one person. And so I kind of started doing an inventory, like, who do I talk to the most? Who are most of my clients? Now, although a lot of my clients wanted to become entrepreneurs, all of them wanted to be a wife or were wives who were having a hard time in their marriage. Thank you so much, Queen, for all your support. I really appreciate you, Queen. And so, like, I really just went to God and I was like, what is it that you want me to do? And so he started showing me a picture. Like, I'm a visual person, number one, and I am a seer, number two. So he started to show me, like, number one, all the people that I was working with were wives or wanted to be a wife. That was something that they had in conjunction with wanting a promotion in their job or wanting to start a business. And then number two, all of their marriages were under attack. Number three, my marriage had just got finished going through an attack. I told you back when we had started the delivery service, we was going through a horrible time to the point that I actually left and moved back to Cincinnati. I was not going to deal with him at all. Like, I didn't want to have nothing to do with him, okay? And so, gosh darn it, it says restriction again. Oh, it says it's been lifted. I don't know. It's got two things on. I don't know. I'm not going to focus on that. I'm just going to keep going. So, um we were going through a hard time. Then God gave me a dream on two separate occasions. I won't go into the details of the dream because I have it written down on this paper. Thank you so much, Queen, again. But I have it written down on this phone, and so I would mess it up trying to tell you about it. But I'll tell you the gist of it. I was going to my to a speaking event, which is not uncommon for me. And as I was going, you saw pictures of me, and you saw pictures of me and my husband. And I was like, why are you showing me pictures of him? I'm not going back. I ain't going back. Okay. This is how I was feeling. Thank you so much, Queen. I really, really appreciate you. So I wasn't going back. Like I had just decided I wasn't going back. And then he gave me the dream again and he gave it to me with a warning. And so when he gave me that warning, I still was resistant because I was mad. And in my mind, I was right. Okay. I don't, woo, I be seeing people do this. I'm not out at entertaining, but I'm going to try. I'm going to try. I'm going to try to be engaging on this app. This app is new for me. Okay. So thank you, T, for joining. So I I knew clearly what the dream meant, but I didn't want to accept it. So I called three people that I trusted. And they all told me the same thing that I had already written down. So I called my husband, who had been calling me the whole time, who never stopped loving, like who never stopped and trying to get back with me, who never stopped taking care of me, like anytime I needed anything, or just he was awesome, loving, like who never stopped and trying to get back with me, who never stopped taking care of me, like anytime I needed anything, or just he was awesome throughout the like he wasn't my husband didn't love me. It wasn't because he was abusing me. It was because I was mad and he was like mean, to be honest with you. So we got back together and immediately like to deep, it's like it's, as soon as I moved back home and was obedient to God, it's almost like scales came off of my eyes and I began to see not only my husband's heart, but I began to see God's heart. And I went into this like deep time of like almost solitude and repentance, because it's like I literally have a great husband. Like he has always provided for our family. He's always been protective of our family. He's always, but there was times like when I talk about boundaries, it's because like his family was very, and we're fine now, but early on in our relationship, his family was like very verbally abusive to me. They mistreated my son. And those kind of things, when you don't feel secure at home, like you don't want to be there as a woman, right? And so instead of fighting the enemy that was fighting him, no, it's good. Like it's not a problem anymore. Like literally, I'm set free. And that's what I want for other women. So that's why I became a wife coach, because sometimes like when you are going through all these issues in your home, I'll tell you the thing that happened to me, like when I started to get so frustrated with him, I took my focus off of him. All of my friends will tell you, like, I am like my husband is a great husband, but I am a great wife. Like to the point I didn't even realize I did this one day. My friend was over and my husband had went upstairs and got in the shower. I tried to twist out today. I hope it's okay. I'm trying not to put weave back in my hair. I watched the reel. It's a whole nother story. But my friend was over and we were downstairs having a conversation. And she keeps telling me this story, but I honestly don't even remember it. I'm trying to turn this down. I'm using my granddaughter's tablet. And I don't know what I'm doing. But she and I were downstairs talking, and apparently I stopped in the middle of our conversation. It was like, oops, wait, I forgot to set his underwear. I gotta go get it. So that's it's like literally his underwear is ready, his clothes is ready for him to go to work, his dinner is ready when he gets home. This is whether I'm working or whether I'm not working. Like I'm an excellent wife. I'm very supportive, very encouraging. So it's crazy that the enemy was able to blind both of us to what we had to make us walk away from it to something that would never amount to what God already had for us, right? And so when God began to show me that, when I tell you I went into this deep time of just repentance and just asking God to search me and asking God to make things clear for me so that I would not go through that again. I did not know at that time, because I just made this transition to become just from not a life coach to a wife coach in the past 2 months. Like literally, God has just been showing me this stuff, and my brain, it was just like, it's the only thing that makes sense. Why? Because the if the first institution that, again, I'm a God-fearing woman, right? So if the first institution that God created was marriage, of course that's the first institution that the enemy is going to attack. And of course he's going to attack those marriages that are going to have the most impact on the kingdom. So when I tell you, like, I didn't even understand the reason why God had me in this great time of repentance and great time of soul searching and breaking covenants and breaking generational curses and tearing down altars. Like, it's crazy how everything has come full circle for me now, right? So even now, like the things that my husband did, it's not like he stopped doing like, stuff. He's still a man. Like, they still gonna do stuff that's gonna aggravate you. But I literally do not, we don't argue. We don't fight. We don't even have disagreements anymore. He doesn't need, like, even if it's me that's provocative, because I'm sure I'm provocative at times, but it's like we give each other that moment and we literally love. Yesterday, I'm gonna tell you the truth. I don't know what was going on with that man yesterday. He came home. Well, number one, he works too much, and I want him to stop working too much. But he came home yesterday. Now, and he just wasn't in a good mood, and he was like snapping, 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 and everything. And I finally looked at him. I'm like, "What's wrong with you?" Nothing wrong with me. Like, attitude. So, like, instead of doing what I would have done, like checking the crap out of him, like, sir, I done cooked your favorite meal. I done did this and that. I didn't do any of that, y'all. I literally made his plate, bought it to him. I would have done that anyway. But then I went upstairs and I got he has dandruff. So do I. I went upstairs, I got the sea breeze and I like rubbed his scalp down with the sea breeze so it was tingling and feeling good to him. And I sat next to him and I rubbed his feet and then the hard shell that, he had a tough day at work and he was frustrated because there was some kids here that we usually don't watch kids and my grandkids are here, but I committed to this so I couldn't not do it. So it was a couple of things that was aggravating him. Um, and I rubbed his feet, and then you could just feel that toughness, that meanness, it just melted away. Because one thing that I have learned is that my husband is not my enemy. My husband literally is my best friend. I can go to him for anything, about anything. We have inside jokes that nobody else can understand. Like, my husband is, aside from God, my husband is my everything. And then before you know it, like that tough exterior had melted away. It had got so bad, and I'm sharing this with you because I want you to know, like, the enemy, just because you make a decision to do what God said, that doesn't mean that the enemy is going to stop trying. But it had got so bad last night. Mind you, we wasn't arguing. It was just like I was watching a movie with the kids, and then he had been just scrolling on his little phone the whole time. And then, like, it's like 10 minutes left in the movie. It's the good part. It's a movie about, it's called The King of Kings. Let me quit saying stuff before they say I'm promoting something again, but it's a movie. And we getting down to the good part. He gonna be like, "Can we quit saying stuff before they say I'm promoting something again?" But it's a movie. And we getting down to the good part. He gonna be like, "Can I have a remote?" And I was like, "Bruh, like, I'm watching a movie. I can't believe you're saying anything. I can't believe you even said I can't believe you even said something. I'm about to go up." And I was like, "Here, take the remote." He was like, "Nah, I'm going upstairs." And me and my attitude, I was like, "Well, bye." And the second I said it, he walked upstairs. I texted him like, "I'm sorry, it's not that serious. Come back downstairs." And he came back down. So that's when I started to do his scalp and all that. And then you just saw kind of like the anger melt away, and we were able to talk about what was really wrong. You know what I mean? So what I'm saying is, like, the enemy is not going to stop trying to bring. He comes to kill, steal, and destroy. He wants to destroy your marriage. He wants to destroy your identity. So I talk a lot about, like, you will see. Thank you for joining, Dina. I appreciate you. Thank you, God. Thank you for the gift. I can't see what it is. As this screen moves a lot for me, but I appreciate you. Um, but that, I say all to say, like, that is why I became a wife coach, right? Because my goal is to set as many women free as possible, to save as many marriages as possible, to build as many families as possible, because the enemy is not going to stop doing his job. Um, and it's super important to me. So a lot of the things that I try to debunk for women is, like, you'll hear a lot of people say that um, a lot of women, like, they don't want to hear the word submission, but a lot of women don't even understand the power of submission or the definition of submission. We usually get our definitions, like, if you're like me, you grew up in church. I grew up in church, but I now know God separated me from the church back in 2015, like from the traditional church, where there's the Bible is taught from a person's perspective, and there is no input, there is no encouraging you to read the Bible, encouraging you to commune with the Holy Spirit. There is no encouraging you to really study the Bible, to break down the words, to understand historical context of what was said. So when you think about submission, like when you think about the word wife, when you think about the word help meet, I think that's in Genesis 2, around 16, when God said he created a help meet. Ezer, it's Ezer. That is the, I don't know if that's the Greek or the Hebrew word because I don't have my notes in front of me. But that word, if you look it up, it was only ever used to describe God and the wife. So when you think about, and it was used to describe God when he provided help in a time of trouble, when he provided financial help, when he was the host of the angel army. So we hear these terms and we shy away from them because we think that submissive means subservient a lot of times. And it doesn't. Because if we study creation, number one, you know that the earth is not round, but I'm not going to go there. But if you study the word, especially Genesis, you understand that when you talk about Genesis 1, it says, God created man as in mankind, and then he created male and female. When you go down to when he's talking about the creation of woman, like man was created first, but when he was giving the responsibilities, we were to have co-rulership and co-dominion. Yes, the man is the head. He is the leader. He is supposed to be the priest of the home. He is the king, but you are the queen, right? And so we can't, I think that a big reason why I like to teach identity to women is because we have never been taught of our importance. So that's just helped me, and that's just a little snippet of it. But then even when you go to the Proverbs 31 woman, when I was younger, when I was hearing about the virtuous woman, I thought she was like some soft person. Hi, Miss Cat. Thank you so much for joining. I thought she was some virtual, what they made us think about being a virtuous woman back when we were younger. But when you start to study in that word, first off, the word virtuous comes from the Hebrew or Greek, I don't have it in front of me, word kail. That word in and of itself means a force. It means a host of armies. It means wealth. It means protection. It means provision. This woman, when you actually get to study this woman, she took care of her house. She had help in her home. A lot of women get a lot of flack for having help in their home, but when I was working full time, I had help in my home. I had someone to come and clean my house every week. I had someone to do my laundry because I was working as much as my husband. I had help in my home. Now that I'm home, I'm able to handle it on my own, but there was no way that I was going to do that, nor was I going to let you make me feel guilty about it. And I didn't understand it, but when I started to study that word, I understood like, no, we weren't supposed to be subservient and working. We're supposed to rest. We're all supposed to have rest, which is a part of the reason why my husband was so frustrated yesterday because he works 7 days a week and our bodies are just not supposed, we're supposed to have a time to rest, not just to rest and get some sleep and rest our joint, our bones and our, our body, but rest and commune with the Lord. Like get away from all the busyness so he can replenish us for what we have to do next. So when you start to understand the word, you start to understand your identity, then you can walk in the power of it. So if I'm a woman and I understand that I have the ability to get to God's heart differently than a man because of my posture is going to be different than a man, then I understand like when I go to God like a daughter, the apple of his eye, Hipsava is what daughter means. It means God delights in me. Then I know that I have the ability to move the heart of God in a way that a man doesn't. And that is a power. So I talk to women a lot about their identity. I talk a lot about establishing boundaries and a lot about creating a vision because when you think about, I love Genesis. As if you can't tell that by now, you gonna know if you ever follow. I love Genesis, and I think about when God created something, He created it. Like first there was light, right? He was the light. It said he created the light, but he didn't create the sun yet. So God was the light source, and then when he created the sun, I think in day 3 or 4, he gave it the authority to rule over the day and the moon to rule over night. But before that was God. When God created the creatures, when he created whatever he created, when he created us, he gave us the authority that he already had. So when we understand our identity and when we understand our authority, we will take our roles as wives and as women more seriously. So that's my long short story about how and why I have niched down to be a wife coach. The most common question that I get is, what is a coach as compared to what is a therapist? And so the way I break it down when I'm talking to my clients, because before I work with you one on one, I want to make sure that you understand the difference between. Thank you guys so much for joining. Thank you, Shafan, or Tia Shafan, and Dell Williams, and everybody who's coming in that's moving so fast. But so much for joining. Thank you, Shafan, or Tia Shafan, and Dell Williams, and everybody who's coming in that's moving so fast. But if you come in for just a minute, but I'd appreciate it if you tap the screen. I appreciate it. I think my queen has reached my goal, and I'm not going to set another goal because I don't need you guys to give me gifts unless you want to. But I get, and plus I don't really know what I'm doing. And I'm not going to set another goal because I don't need you guys to give me gifts unless you want to. But I get, and plus I don't really know what I'm doing. So find people that want to learn from me. And I'm letting you know, if you follow me, I am an engaging person. I will come and check out and support your lives. I will support your content. So I'm a good person to connect with too. I've not been on TikTok that long. I was on TikTok, but I've not been active on TikTok except for the past, this is July. So since like April. April was when I became active on TikTok. Um, and more active last week, because last week I went live 3 times, and I'm going to be going live every day, Monday through Friday at 12:30. I don't know about the weekends yet. But the question that I get asked the most is, what is the difference between a coach and a therapist? And I'll tell you this, I think both coaches and therapists help you identify goals. They help you stay motivated to achieve them. They hold you accountable. They help you get strategy, and they help you develop skills. That is like kind of the box that we both sit in. But a therapist is different in that, number one, they tend to be very, very introspective. And I have this written down because I don't want to get it wrong. They tend to want to dig into your past and help you learn coping mechanisms and help you learn techniques to deal with the triggers that you have. They tend to behaviors, and they tend to look at you as a patient, and they use a medical model to help you solve your problems, and they usually are like a longer relationship. Hey, so I'm not, so we're not talking about sobriety. I am sober, but I'm not talking about sobriety. I do have a person that I follow. I don't remember her name, but she's awesome. She's been sober for 6 years, and I follow her because my mother, I told you guys earlier, like I was born in prison. I didn't have my mother or my father. My mother was a hustler, and she was addicted to drugs, and she also sold drugs. So I don't know who you are. You're a troll. But anyway, so therapists tend to be very like introspective, and they look at you as a patient, and they tend to help you with a model that is like a medical model. As a coach, I'm going to do the same things that therapists do, and I'm going to address your past, but I'm going to address your past in the way that I address mine, right? Like once I realized that my resentment, my unforgiveness, my anger, and my abandonment were causing me to uh, have behaviors that were a detriment to my family and a detriment to my marriage, I decided that I wanted it out. So I'm not trying to cope with it. I'm not trying to manage no triggers. I'm like up and out of here. That's just how I feel about it. I'm like, do you see the problem that this behavior, when I think about a behavior trait, so like rejection or unforgiveness, number one, I consider it a demon. But when I look at these behavior traits, I look at it just like it's a person, right? So if I'm dealing with a person named hatred, I believe that hatred is going to do what hatred is defined to do. And if hatred is defined for me to hate you, to despise you, to wish ill on you, not only when you think about rejection, right? The spirit of rejection, not only does it make you project rejection, but it makes you receive rejection because it doesn't differentiate. Its goal is your destruction. So once I identify that this is what's going on, I might need to identify the root of it so that as I'm going through the process of deliverance, that I can understand like how it got there. It came for me from my mother's womb. My mother didn't want to have a baby. She wasn't ready. She was still in the streets. It came from my father. My father was a married man, right? He was a married man and he did not want a baby outside of marriage. So these things like that is the root of rejection. But once I man and he did not want a baby outside of marriage. So these things like that is the root of rejection. But once I know that, my goal is to get up and out. And when I start to see something that is like presenting in my life, I immediately catch it. I capture that thought because you do have the ability to take captive a thought. And then I began to rebuke those thoughts, and I began to program myself with what thus saith the Lord. Not with positive affirmations, not with no, what thus saith the Lord. Why? Because that is where my help comes from. What thus saith the Lord. Not with positive affirmations, not with no, what thus saith the Lord. Why? Because that is where my help comes from. So I don't really care so much about your past, but I care about where you are and where you want to be. So the first thing that I'm going to do with you is help you to establish a vision, and we would partner to get your vision together. And once we get your vision together, then we implement strategies on how to get there. And so my goal is to help you to just become more sufficient. Um, yeah, so I think I already told you the story about why I became a coach, how I transitioned through entrepreneurship, and why I niched down to being a life coach. So that's pretty much. So if you watch my, thank you so much. I appreciate you. If you watch any of my content, it is all geared toward that. A lot of the people that I work with need help with starting and scaling their businesses. It is a skill that I have. I've been great at it, even though I just don't want a big business. Like I literally just don't want a business with employees. I just want my little coaching practice with me, and I will, sub out, contract out what it is that I need. But if you are a wife and if you're struggling at all, 5 things that you want to stop doing right now if you're miserable in your marriage is number one, you want to stop venting to people that don't honor you, that don't honor your covenant, and that don't honor their own covenant. Why? Because misery loves company. And if they're not going to respect your marriage, if they're not going to respect you and the fact that you wanted to get married, that you made this covenant with this person, then they're going to be a person that is going to poison you. They're not going to give you good advice. They're most likely going to be jealous of you, and they're going to do things subliminally to try to pull you and your covenant away because they're likely under some demonic influence. So stop listening to them. Psalms 1:1 says, walk not in the counsel of the ungodly. Why? Because they're ungodly and they might be regular today. They might present as a good person today, a person that cares about you and your future, but they don't. Because tomorrow they're going to be gossiping about your husband. And they're going to say, "Ooh, girl, I can't believe he did that." And every negative thing that you've ever shared with them about your husband, they sneak it in the conversation and they start to plant seeds of doubt in you. And the next thing you know it, your whole mindset about your husband and your marriage has changed. Number two, you stop waiting for your spouse to change. You have made a decision to do life with this person. So your desire should be to serve them and to encourage them and to motivate them in the same way and to pray for them in the same way that you need them to do for you. And number three, stop rehearsing your offenses because that is just going to listen. Memory recall I think it's one of the most damning demons that I have ever encountered. Like you can be having a great day and in the middle of the day, you can smell something or you can see something. Your husband can give you a look, and y'all could be having a great day. And then you have this memory recall. And if you don't take that thought captive and cast it out of your mind, your day is going to switch just like that. And before you know it, y'all going to be not speaking, headed to a divorce. And it's going to be for one thought for something that you should have already forgiven for anyway. Number four, stop using silence as a weapon. My husband tried it yesterday, but I don't fight him anymore. I fight the enemy. And once I was able to use my softness as a skill, as a strategy to defeat the enemy, the night turned out amazing. And then you stop letting your emotions lead your decisions. Okay. So that's really it. I just wanted to come on and introduce myself. Again, I am going to be going live every day, Monday through Friday at 12:30. I was late today because I was on a meeting. It was a last minute meeting, but I will be here tomorrow at 12:30, and I'll stay on as long as you guys are interacting with me. And just so you know, when you follow me, I am an engaging person. I'm an engaging bestie. I do all the things. I like, I share, I follow your content, I comment. So go ahead and follow me, and that would be great. But does anybody have any questions about anything that I discussed? And thank you guys who have been on with me for the whole time. I really appreciate that. Does anybody have any questions on anything that I discussed? And I'll be sure to not say that word that got me some restrictions today, because definitely I was not promoting them. As a matter of fact, I wouldn't suggest anybody does it. Not a black woman anyway. So if I don't have any questions, I really just appreciate you guys for spending time with me. I appreciate all of your gifts. I appreciate all of your likes. I appreciate all of your comments. I appreciate all of your shares. Again, I will be on Monday through Friday at 12:30 Eastern Standard Time. I came on later today just because I wanted to keep the commitment that I said to myself that I was going to start this week. And I was on a phone call at 12:30 that lasted way too long. And then I had some other things I needed to do. Um, but if there's nothing else, I just want to say thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for everybody who followed me. Thank you for everybody who gave me a heart, a comment, or even just the view. It matters, and I really appreciate you. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. I love you, and there is absolutely nothing that you can do about it.